Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillahi wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yawmiddin amma ba'd. Brothers and sisters, welcome to Module 3, Lesson 12 of Learn Tajweed for Allah. Inshallah, we are still continuing with Makharij al-Huruf, places from which letters originate. And we are still dealing with Taraful Lisan, the tip of the tongue. Today we are going to be dealing with the makhraj of At-Ta, Wad-Dal, Wat-Ta, the articulation points of Ta and Dal and Ta. These three letters are pronounced from the top side of the tip of the tongue, the top side of the tip of the tongue, and where the gum reaches the two front upper incisors. That is called the gum line. The part of the tongue used in these letters is a small part of the tip of the tongue, of the top of the tip of the tongue. For the ta, the farthest part of the tongue is raised, while for the ta and the dal, it is flatter. Look at the pictures, inshallah. First of all, we have the tongue there. The second picture shows the makhraj of all these letters, where the tongue reaches the gum line. That is, the two front incisors, where these reaches the gum. That's called the gum line. Okay, we see the only difference in the dal and the ta, they have one picture that represents both of them, whilst for the ta we see another picture. In the ta, for the ta and the dal, it is flatter. The tongue is flat. There is no indentation, no excessive raising. Where for the ta, the back part, the farthest part back, the back of the tongue is raised towards the upper palate. Okay, so let us get the pictures. Here's the top of the tip and the tip of the tongue. Okay, we see both the top of the tip and the tip of the tongue. Okay, here we have the line of the upper gum, and here we have the upper two incisors. These are really pictures. All these pictures explain in detail exactly what we have to do when we pronounce these letters and how to articulate them from this point. As we see, these letters are pronounced from the top side of the tip of the tongue, where the gum reaches the front incisors, the gum line for these two teeth. All right, we have to make sure that this is properly articulated, inshallah, when we pronounce them. The differences with the ta is very elevated at the back, inshallah. Common mistakes in the letters ta, dal, and ta. Number one, the mistake that occurs most often in these three letters is the using of the soft elevated area behind the gum instead of the gum line. The gum line is where the end of the gum reaches the incisors. Number two, the English T and D, which most people think are the places or the dal and the ta can be articulated from. These two letters in English are articulated at positions that are farther back in the mouth than the Arabic ta and dal. When these letters, that is the ta and the dal, are emitted and they go far back too far, their sounds get heavy because the tongue at the back raises up, and this is what makes the ta different from the ta, because it raises the tongue. So if in pronouncing the ta with the tongue at the back raised up, it is going to sound like a ta. Another problem, third problem, that may occur in all these of the letters in this group is not using just the top of the tip, but instead using a large portion of the top of the tongue. Okay, it's not using the top, just the top of the tip. That's just the point that has to be used, but instead using a large portion of the top of the tongue. Number four, ta. This is separate for ta. Ta is a letter that has both tafkhim, that is heaviness and elevation, and sticks to the roof of the mouth. It is the strongest of all the letters of the Arabic language. The most common mistake, other than the above mistake, in this letter is not getting it strong enough, as well as not sticking most of the tongue up to the roof of the mouth while pronouncing it. Since this letter is not common to many languages, it needs practice to be proficient in its proper articulation. Listening to a known accomplished reciter can assist in learning the proper sound of the letter ta. Okay, ta. It has to be very elevated, very elevated. Make sure that the top of the tip of the tongue for these three letters touches the gum line. And inshallah, it is going to assist greatly in pronouncing them properly. Jazakumullah khairan. Let us practice the ta, the dal, and the ta with vowels. The fatha, the kasra, and the dam.
أط طا طو طي 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 أت تا تو تي 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 أد دا دو دي أد دا دو دي أد دا دو دي أد دا دو دي أد دا دو دي.
مخرج الصاد والزاي والسين. The articulation points of, or the articulation point of, because one point, of Sod and Zai and Sin. The three letters Sod, Zai, and Sin are emitted by placing the tip of the tongue on the back of the two front lower incisors. Lower incisors, not upper incisors. The sound is then emitted between the upper and lower incisors. That is where the sound comes out from now. There's a little space left in between the tip of the tongue and the back of the incisors of the teeth when pronouncing these letters. There's a little space left in between the tip of the tongue and the back of the incisors of the teeth when pronouncing these letters. So let us get some pictures. Here is the deepest part of the tongue. We want the tip of the tongue, right? Because this is what is important here. We have the makhraj of Zai and Sin and Sod. They are in two different pictures. Zai and Sin is one picture and Sod is in one picture. Okay? So if we notice that the tip of the tongue, taraful lisan, it points to the black dot where the sound originates from. Notice it is not where the tongue touches the teeth. It is a little above it, inshallah, and it comes out from between the upper and lower incisors. The sound actually comes from there, right? And then we have the lower incisors. These are the lower incisors, the two at the bottom, inshallah. So we find the tip of the tongue touching the back of the lower incisors, and the sound coming from between the lower and upper incisors. Another point is that these letters are called safir letters, which means whistle. They are called that due to the whistling type sound that is heard when they are emitted properly, right? So inshallah, this is one of the sifat of the letters which we are going to be dealing with when we deal with the characteristics of letters, inshallah. But for now, this is important. These letters are pronounced by the tip of the tongue touching the back of the two front lower incisors, and the sound is then emitted for these letters between the upper and lower incisors. Okay, so that is basically the makhraj of these letters. Common mistakes in the letters ta, dal, and ta. One, the most common mistake that occurs in the three letters as a group is in the lack of whistle, the safir. People don't give it the whistle enough. And we're going to get some practice with this just now, inshallah. A note to remember: the tongue should not press up against the plates of the teeth, or the sound will be incorrectly imprisoned when trying to say these letters. Another mistake that occurs singularly in the Sod is not making it heavy enough. It is one of the tafkhim, that is the heavy letters, or the elevated letters, and it also has the characteristic of sticking. If the Sod is not made heavy enough or not given enough elevation, it sounds like or even close to a sin. And this is a mistake that many people make. Number 4, the sticking of the tongue with the sword is not at the articulation area. The articulation area, as we said, is the tip of the tongue with the back of the lower incisors, but rather with the back of the tongue. The sticking is in the back of the tongue. It sticks to the very back of the soft palate while the letter is being pronounced. Right? When this letter is pronounced, it sticks to the back of the soft palate. Let us practice the sod, the zai, and the sin with vowels. That is, sod and zai and z and sin with fatha, kasra, and dhamma.
S S S S S S Sa Su Si 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 Az Za Zu Zi 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 As Sa Su Si As Sa Su Si As Sa Su Si As Sa Su Si As Sa Su Si.
So, Alhamdulillah, we praise Allah for allowing us to complete Module 3 of Lesson 12. Alhamdulillah for this great honor. And we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for making us be from amongst those who are trying to learn the Quran and teach it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us all and guide us all and make us make the effort that is necessary to perfect our recitation of the Quran. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.